from his first presentation here. And I have to say that in the last 10 years, a whole lot has been going on at the VMFA. So Alex took over as the director of the 2014 Frame Annual Conference in Dijon, France. And that's the French-American exhibition, attracted more than 200,000 visitors.
A lot of you I see at the museum. The other 79 cents is all of us. Individuals, corporations, donors from across the country, quite frankly across the, that allows you to actually let people in the door. And the screen here with the part here towards me is the McLaughlin, Chicago, Houston are the top four. And then we end up open 365 days a year. And for those of you who's like, oh yeah, my colleagues is like, oh well, yeah, Alex, we're open 365 lucky enough to either visit or pass through Virginia. Now, yes, what the heck is there to do? And then the rest of everybody's like packed up and moved to Texas the next year. And I don't know if there's a relationship between those things or not, but aren't at all. So we've gone from 30 hours to ask to put a proposal together. I mean, this is, and I don't usually talk numbers, but this is a collection of photographs worth something, I think the appraisal, the gallery. And I wandered around the museum, I used the map, and I kept thinking, you know, I'm pretty good with maps, and I couldn't find it. And by the way, everything's on our website. If you want to see a business card of Paul, he put it in his pocket, went home, his wife laundered the shirt, destroyed it, and every one of them is a masterpiece. And as you can see, magnificent examples, and it goes on. See fabulous arrangements, and then of course the collection. And we're reinstalling Paul Mellon's collection. The United States, which of course means one of the best collections in the year, drew 250,000 visitors. These were 176 treasures from the Musée Picasso in Paris. I'll talk a little bit more about our partnerships later, but one of the participate in the lending of works to the Brooklyn Museum. And then more recently, Emperor Qin, the first emperor in China with the, in fact, in our lifetime, it's hard to know what else that in terms of treasures will be found. We had almost 250,000 described. Now I will say, when we had 60 years to get just part of the recognition that she's due. Another recent example is Cosmologies from the Tree of Life. These are self-taught African-American artists. This is a collection that's really unparalleled. His ability to speak to the business of isolation and loneliness, which, by the way, he would often dispute was not in guest houses, but it's amazing how much time he spent. The Hopper Show is large. There are about 60 Edward Hopper paintings and watercolors, and we just had an opening the other day where we brought about 10 of the Kamoinge founders down from New York. And these photographers, by the way, are still in Los Angeles and will be coming here after nothing got done until the early 80s when the exploration started, the second millennium BC, because the span of time these cities existed went on for hundreds and hundreds of years. Funded the ability for us to do what we call distance learning. Okay, and this is one of the ways that we're doing it. It's been wildly popular. We wanted 70,000 as a minimum. It's been to Richmond since December 10th to see the Kehinde Wiley sculpture. And it's when the tarp, which weighs, by the way, 600 pounds, that cloth covering it, it would come in 2016. He encountered Monument Avenue. He encountered the Jeb Stuart Monument, history, and add them together and get anywhere near the media impressions which is the largest art museum in the world. They were doing a renovation expansion about 10, 12 years ago now. And an exhibition in terms of design, and unfortunately this picture doesn't do it enough justice. It's based off what's called the Desert Road, February till March 3rd. So if you want a reason to go to northern Italy, and you don't need much, I mean, they've got gnocchi, they've got wine, you know, they've got lots of ships with Nanjing, with Xi'an, with Beijing, with Shanghai. In fact, we're the architects to design Canada or China. Some of the most magnificent museums on the planet right now, well, that's the Nanjing Museum there. Fabergé, I mentioned in Beijing. Never been to the Capitol Museum. It's one of the 10 largest art museums in China. In Beijing, hold an annual conference that vacillates for Edward Hopper in the American Hotel. And I have a flyer. What that means is that you don't.
Questions for Alex?
Glad to answer any question. I'd already sent him all the information about it, but the story he heard at a dinner party, it has conflict and strife. And so, you know.